So in this video, we're going to tackle the When the Saints Go Marching In piano chords, and of course, chords for any instrument. My name is Paul Tobey from Jazz Mental, and this tune is interesting because it contains patterns which appear in almost every jazz piece, all the jazz standards. And what we're talking about is really 1-6-2-5 and then 1-4-3-6-2-5, things like that. And I'm going to show you some patterns which you can really rely on. And once you learn these patterns in a couple of different keys, you can really do a lot with that. So it's really exciting. We're going to get started. I'm going to play you the tune first, and then we're going to dive in and start to tear it apart. All right, let's get going. Okay, let me play you a couple of choruses of When the Saints Go Marching In, and then we'll start to tear it apart. Let's get going. All right, so the first thing that you'll notice in this piece is that the chord progression is fairly simple, but obviously it appears in many, many different jazz type pieces where you've got 1-6-2-5 and then 3-6-2-5. So the difference between those two is nominal because a 3 chord is very much like a 1 chord. Okay? So it's obviously 1 to 6 minor to 2 minor to 5-7 to 3 minor to 6 minor to 2 minor to D7. Okay, so there's a million ways you can play 1-6-2-5. And we're not going to go through all of those different voicings for it, but what we are going to do is look at the scales, and out of the scales come the chords. So as long as you play chords that use notes from the scale, you're going to do well. All right, let's just take a look at the next section first, because I want to cover the A section in this video. So here we've got 1 to 4, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Now, why this is important is because when you're going from 1 to 2, the most expedient way to do that is 1-4-3-6. So if you're going from 1 to 2 in the key of F, go like this, 1-4-3-6. And that is extremely common. So 1-6-2-5 is common, 1-4-3-6-2-5 is common. And if you learn that in a couple of different keys, you can start to play all kinds of jazz tunes and you're going to sound great. So let's look at the scales for the F major 6 chord. So I'm going to plunk down an F major 6 chord in root position, 1, 3, 5, 6, and then play the scale over top. So that is a bebop scale. Let's write it out. So what I've done here is I put the F major 6 chord in the bass, or in the left hand, and in the right hand, we're going to play the scale. So it has 7 notes, with the C sharp being the passing chord. Sorry, some of those stems should be down. Okay. So again, any combination of those notes other than the C sharp, which is just the passing note of the bebop scale, work in your chord voicings. In fact, you could do this and it still sounds okay. So as long as you're taking notes out of the scale, you're good to go. All right, let's move on to the D7 sharp 11 chord. Now, what I'm going to do is just play you the D7 in the root position with the D7 bebop scale. So let's write that out. Here's D, F sharp, C natural. And in the right hand, let's play the bebop scale. So D, E, F sharp to G, A, B natural, C sharp, or sorry, C natural, C sharp, and then back to D. So that's our bebop scale, with the passing note being the same passing note, C sharp, as in the other scale. So with B natural, or you could also play B flat there, but it's not part of the bebop scale, because it is part of the key, so sometimes you can slip back and forth between each one. So that's pretty neat. Okay, so let's move on to the G minor chord, which is here. It's the 2 minor chord, and we'll learn the bebop scale for that one. So we've got F, let's play the chord in the left. So that's a good voicing for G minor 7. It's basically second position or third inversion. And then in the right hand, the bebop scale. So G, A, B flat, B natural, C, and let's just move quickly on to the C7 chord, which is going to be, just drop 1 note in the bass to E. So the other notes remain the same. Like this, that's actually B flat. So we're going from G minor here, G minor 7, to this, which is C7. And then in the right hand, the bebop scale is the same, it just starts on C. So we're going to go C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, B natural, to C. You'll notice that when we did the D7 bebop scale, it's only a whole step above. And C7. Okay, so that's really important because you need these scales in order to understand the chords. So let's do the whole thing. All right, so now that we've got that, what we're gonna do is let's just play the chords in the right hand, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So of the F chord, it's 3, 5, 7, 9. Then of the D7 flat 9, 3, 7 flat 9. And then the G minor chord, and then the C7. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up the chord with the 4 notes like this, and then come down with the bebop scale. Then D7. And then G minor. And then C7. Sometimes it's a little hard for me to think about this because it's so long ago that I start to remember things of how I learned. So what's good about that is you're starting to mix the chords and the scales together. So then you can start to do things. Things like that. So again, go 3, 5, 7, and 9, and then come down the bebop scale. And that will infinitely serve you well when you're learning to improvise, because even just those patterns themselves kind of sounds like improvising. So I wish you well with this. In other videos, we're going to continue to talk about things like 1, 4, 3, 6, but we've run out of time for this video. Let me play you out.